Buddy. Okay, so obviously I'm again sick at home. I will be back next week though. I should get my test results today at some point, meaning if as long as they are negative, I can come back on Monday. So with that being said, unfortunately we will not be able to talk about the questions I asked you yesterday in person, but I still want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to understand exactly what the questions mean, and hopefully get a better understanding of them if you were confused. So I want to go through the reading questions from yesterday with you through this video. Hopefully I answer your questions. If I don't, that's your opportunity to take responsibility and message or email me with your questions so that I can help you personally. Sorry. Okay, so for the first set of reading questions, I asked you three. And the first one I asked, what do you think the title means? Obviously I have it here, nothing lasts forever. And for the most part, a lot of you really caught on to that. Nothing gold can stay. So nice job, those of you that caught on. Those of you that didn't, that is okay. That's what we're talking about this stuff for, right? So nothing gold can stay, that basically fits with the meaning of the poem, which also means that nothing can last forever. Obviously, gold is something people want, that they covet, which means that they really prize, and that kind of a thing doesn't always last. So that's basically what the title of the poem means. So nice job to those of you that understood that immediately, and to those of you that didn't, that's okay. I also asked you what is being described in the poem, and a lot of you picked up on the nature aspect, which I would have hoped that you would, since it talks about flowers and leaves, and nature's hue. It even says nature in it. So those of you that picked up on the nature part, well done. But a lot of you took it a step further, which was great. And you also said that things change, life changes, nothing lasts. That's kind of that same idea with the first question, so nice job to those of you that also picked up on that as well. The third and final question for the first reading set, a lot of you said that you were very confused about the poem, and had no idea what really your first impressions were, except for the fact that you were confused. A lot of you said that you liked it and that it made more sense this time around, which is good, I guess. So I'm glad for that. Those of you that are confused, I'm hoping this video helps clarify some things. With the second reading set, now I didn't ask you all of these, so I'll just do the ones that I did ask you. I did ask what the message in the poem was. A lot of you, again, caught on that, so everything changes, nothing can stay, nothing beautiful can stay. So well done to those of you that picked up on that. Those of you that didn't, that's okay, right? That's what we're talking about this for. A lot of you were a little confused about this one, and maybe it was the way that I worded it. But essentially, I asked you, and I kind of changed the wording here, what word choices Robert Frost used to help bring the message of the poem to life. So if the message of the poem is that change is inevitable, I wanted you to pick out specific details from the story that brought that message to life. So change is inevitable is our message, and an example of word choice that would have helped bring that message to life would be an example here. Only so an hour, so meaning it only lasts for an hour. Leaf subsides to leaf, grief, nothing gold can stay, right? All of that stuff kind of shows the idea of change is constant, it has to happen. Or if you said that nothing beautiful can stay, then this would also be examples of that as well. So I hope that kind of clears it up for you. We were just looking at what word choice or words in the poem that helped bring the message change is inevitable to life in the poem, or really described or showed it, okay? So The third one I didn't ask you, so don't worry about it. But the fourth one, I asked you to find examples of alliteration in the poem. And I think you guys either may have forgotten what alliteration was or were confused about what alliteration was. But again, alliteration is when a letter or sound is repeated. And I have 3 examples here for you. So in the first line, nature's green is gold. So green and gold both have that G sound or that G letter, so that's alliteration. In line 2, her heart is hue to hold. We have that repetition of the H and the H sound. So that is again alliteration. And then finally in line 7, dawn goes down today with that the repetition of the D and the D sound. Okay, so that's what alliteration is for those of you that were confused and did not quite understand that question. All right, and finally we move on to the metaphor analysis with the second reading set, or I'm sorry, the third reading set. So I gave you 3 examples of metaphor used in the poem, and again, metaphor is comparing two things without using like or as. And a lot of you actually did really, really well with the metaphor analysis, so nice job. I'm proud of you guys. But for those of you that were confused or could do with better explanation, this is what those metaphors meant. So in the first line we have nature's first green is gold. This metaphor is essentially saying that gold is something valuable, and that a lot of you picked up on the spring too, that when spring comes and in summer, right, we have, especially in spring, new growth, things are blooming, the grass is coming back, right, the trees are coming out of hibernation, and this new growth is something new, and like I said here in the example, it is precious, just like gold is, right? Something valuable. So that's what that first metaphor means. Her heart is hue to hold. Again, a lot of you picked up on this, so that kind of references the idea of the changing seasons. So if we go from spring and then into summer and then into fall, right? In spring and summer, we have 2 months of, things being lush and green and full of life, but then we get into fall where it changes into those red, browns, and yellows and oranges as far as leaves go. Some of the grass starts to die, some of the other plants, all that stuff. Things change, the color green starts to go away and it fades. And that's what this metaphor means. And finally, her early leaves of flower, but only so an hour. Again, referencing nature and how things pass, time passes quickly, things change, and it changes fast. I'm sorry. And I think that is all the questions all the questions I needed to go over. Again, if I didn't answer your questions well enough, or you still have questions, please email or message me so that I can help clear some things up. But yeah, I hope this video helps you understand those questions a little more if you were confused. Thanks, guys. I will hopefully see you next week.